Welcome to an Alphabet of Fairy in the letter Z, the last of the alphabet. In this snippet of folklore we will look at the Zduhacz, the Zorya and the Zlatarog. Once long ago in the Slavic lands, witchcraft was integral to communities. These folk were the ones who would protect villages and the land from wicked spirits and supernatural attacks. Zduhacz was some of the most important of these practitioners, and although it is not known how they originated, it is thought that they were a form of Eurasian shaman. Every village had their own Zduhacz, and often they went into battle with those from other villages, sometimes the fights ending up being fought in the clouds high above, often the Zduhacz shape-shifting into different animals using weapons such as sticks burned at both ends and handcrafted magical talismans. In Serbia, Bulgaria and Macedonia, these men were also known as dragon men. These were able to keep away bad weather, known for having a lot of the properties that dragons also had. Their true enemies were the Ale, female supernatural beings who were bringers of storms and hail, also able to suck all of the fertility from the fields where crops were growing. When the Ale attacked, the local Zduhacz would go into battle with them in the skies, throwing stones and fiery arrows at them, causing thunder and lightning. It was said that the dragon man would battle the Ale, or many Ale, by going deep into a trance or sleep, and this could happen wherever he was at the time. His soul would transform to a snake or a lizard and fly into the sky. The battles would take as long as needed. The body of the man on earth would be sweating with the sheer strength of the spiritual flight, not breathing at all. However, there was a danger that an Allah could find the dragon man's empty body while he was fighting and injure him. Those protecting the dragon man's body would swing a blade or scythe over him, or stick a blade into the ground above the warrior's head. He was never ever to be moved, not even slightly shifted during this battle, or he would die. His soul would not be able to return to his physical body. Once the battle was over and won, his soul would return and the Zduhacz would wake, exhausted and needing great care from the villagers. Zorya is the pure personification of the dawn, the very early morning, possibly once worshipped as a goddess. In tradition, she can be either a single female entity or appear as three sisters all at the same time, which is a common theme in folklore belief. As one female, her name is the Red Maiden, and she is sometimes associated with the sun, the moon, and the morning star. Zorya's home is the palace of the sun, and it is she who opens the gate for him to rise and travel on his long journey across our great skies. She protects his white horses, the horses of the sun, and within Slavic magic known as Zagovori, it is she who is appealed to for aid. In Russian folklore there are two sisters, Zorya Utrenyaya, or morning Zorya, and Zorya Vershenyaya, or evening Aurora. These virginal sisters represent the dawn and the evening. These sisters stood either side of the sun's great throne in his palace. Morning Zorya would open the gates of the sun's kingdom so he could travel, and evening Zorya would close the gates after he returns. In another tradition we find there are three young sisters, little girls, evening, midnight and morning. These little sisters guard a great dog who has a huge iron chain, keeping him tied to the constellation of Ursa Minor, the little bear. If the chain snaps, this will bring about the end of the world. The Zorya, whether in single or multiple form, love to bless weddings and appear in many folk songs about marriages. There is one song from Russia. The moon meets Aurora as they are wandering and a conversation arises. O dawn, dawn, wherever hast thou been? Wherever hast thou been? Wherever dost thou intend to live? Where do I intend to live? Why, at Pan Ivan's. At Pan Ivan's in his court and in his dwelling. And in his dwelling there are two pleasures. The first pleasure to get his son married, the second pleasure to give his daughter in marriage. In Ukraine we also find folklore of Zorya, where her name lends itself to many, many words used in Ukrainian, little star, aurora and dawn. She is found in many ballads, story cycles and folk tales from all across Eastern and Slavic Europe. In Slovenian, Austrian and Italian mountain folklore we find a wonderful piece of folklore, the tale of Zlatarog, or Golden Horn. This is a magical white male chamois, alternatively an alpine ibex. In 1868, Karl Deschmann collected the tale of Zlatarog and created a romance around the folklore, preserving the tale for future generations. This is his record of the tale of Zlatarog. Zlatarog's horns of gold held a secret to hidden treasure that was in the mountains of Triglav. In the Trenta Valley lived a young and handsome hunter, and he was hopelessly in love with a local girl, a true beauty. This young man would bring her wild mountain flowers, and eventually he won her whole heart. One day, a wealthy merchant from Venice came to the area, and the girl caught his eye. He plied the girl with gold and jewels and led her in the dancing. The young hunter came to the girl, and, spoiled by her new beau's wealth and riches, she made fun of the poor hunter in front of everyone. Heartbroken, he walked away. Another hunter, an untrustworthy fellow known as the Green Hunter, who had had many young boys die as his apprentices, spoke to our young hero. And our young hero, with nothing left to live for, agreed to go with the older hunter and find Golden Horn and his hidden treasure. They strode the mountains, and in the morning light found the animal and shot it. However, it did not fall, as this is a fairy creature, but instead Zlatarog took flight, dying but still clinging to life. They found it on a narrow ledge, weak and close to death now. On the path nearby, our hero saw the most beautiful flowers he had ever seen, renowned as healing plants that sprang forth from the blood droplets of Golden Horn, and among them the edelweiss that he often picked to make a salve for his old mother's eyes. This memory of his poor mother stopped him for a moment. The Green Hunter threatened our hero and pushed him to grab the flowers before Zlatarog could eat one and recover, but he did not get to the plant in time. Remembering his mother gave Golden Horn time to act. Golden Horn snatched a flower, and all of his great strength returned. Golden Horn leaped towards the hunter, the sun catching the gold of his horns and blinding both the hunter's eyes. The young hunter lost his balance and fell from the ledge. Later, as the snow melted in the spring, the Soka River brought his broken body back to the valley of his home, where his faithless lover full of guilt had been waiting for him to return. In summer the local shepherds found that the meadows and pastures were barren. No beautiful grasses, no flowers, nothing. Zlatarog had destroyed all of the once fertile place as punishment for his near death and the Green Hunter's greed. As punishment also, the white women, nymphs who protected the valley, Fairy maidens led by Goldenhorn left the valley and the mountains. The white women came to the mother of the young hunter when he was a baby, and they had promised to protect him as much as they could. Between the death of their young charge and the near death of their master, they simply could not bear to stay in that land, and so they left forever. Thank you, subscribers and supporters, for all your kind words, views, likes and follows. Some people have asked me how they can support the channel. Well, there are a few ways now. You can look at our merchandise shops where we have all sorts of great things with mine and Marc's art. And now you can even buy me a coffee on Ko-fi, where you can also join as a member of my page and get great principles of Marc's art and folklore things every month as a thank you from us both. I have put all of the links in the description of this episode. Finally, we reached the end of our alphabet, and what a strange group of creatures and fairy folk we found there. So many I have never heard of before, but discovered during my research. I have really enjoyed learning about every character. Thank you so much for following me with this journey of discovery. And until next time, dear friends, as always, take care. Brightest of blessings, and remember, just don't play with the fairy folk or you may end up in one of my folk tales yourself.